Continuing on my analysis of serving in government, um, and obviously I'm going to be concentrating on city government because that's currently what I do. Um, I want to talk a little bit about adhering to a rule of law. Um, as I've discussed before, it is uh, it is a inherent want for anyone running for office to want to please everybody, and that's we've got going on 7 billion people on the planet. Each one is different. Each one has different desires, hates, love, and you're not going to please everybody all the time. And so that's sort of the uncomfortable part of serving in government, is that you're going to be unpopular, but history will judge you by the fruits of your labor, in other words. Anyhow, for instance, um, I am on the local cemetery board, and I've come across some things that I've never, you wouldn't think a cemetery would be full of drama and stuff like that, but it is. It really is, because you're dealing with people's emotions in an odd way that no one else, no other department has, because you're talking about people's um, wants and desires that are final. You know, um, this is how I want to be buried. This is how I want my mother, my father to be remembered. And in those opportunities where you have emotions that run high in the face of death, people don't take the time to look at law, to understand that in any cemetery um, there are city ordinances, there are things that need to be adhered to, things that are common to the community. And so, for instance, just recently, uh, a lady was irate, and she wanted to put one of those cemetery grave benches on her lot. And she talked with the cemetery sexton, and he said, no, you can't do that. Number one, she purchased only a half lot, not a full lot. And so you're only going to have room for a headstone, okay? Not a headstone and a big old bench. It's not going that won't happen. She comes back and says, well, I'm going to be cremated, so there's going to be room. Well, if you've ever dealt with cemetery drama and the things that go on there, a person may say one thing, that they're going to be cremated. When they're dead, they're dead. You've got the family, on the other hand. A lot of times, the family has different views than what the person that deceased has. So a lot of times, if they want to be cremated, the family says, no, it ain't happening. And so, you know, um, so you need to adhere to rules of law. Um, and aside from uh, a cemetery, you have, um, abatement laws. You need to have your property in good shape. It is still your castle, but you live in a common community, and so there are certain standards that need to be met, and that often inherently includes the length of your grass, your lawn, trees that have to be cut from power lines, things of that nature. And so, uh, these are the kinds of things that a city council has to deal with, has to function through, has to listen to. And so you kind of have to balance out rule of law and compassion. Try to find that boundary without crossing the line. Because once you cross the line on the rule of law and you make an exception, you open the floodgates and it becomes a snowball effect where other people feel it is their right to have the same kind of treatment. And that's, you might as well tear up the rule books then. Um, so the rule of law is very important. And it's the same difference in international things. For instance, Syria, there was some chemical attack on the people. Chemical weapons were banned, um, going on 100 years ago. What should be done? Well, you need to look at the rule of law and you need to look at your options. Um, Military strike is not popular among Americans, well, the world, and so, but there are other options that can be done, um, and you have to worry about people circumventing the law. Um, for instance, just today, Vladimir Putin of the Russian Federation um, quickly made a pact with um, Assad of Syria to turn over, and this is what's been said, to turn over his chemical weapons to an international group. Um, and so we'll see what happens there. I don't trust um, Vladimir Putin. I really don't trust too many world leaders, including our own. And there's a reason why. But we, in keeping to the word of law, we in the United States have a particular respect and observance of the proper order of law, the proper order of things, because we believe that it is a vital part of maintaining a civilization, a society. And, that is something that's not shared in the same light among other countries. And so, that's just a few thoughts on the importance of keeping the rule of law.